I don't know about you, but it just gives me the chills when I hear that. When I got the intro come in, first time back on the
I was
stream,
gonna,
Ty.
I
I
was gonna say, first time back, you get that kind of intro, dude.
oh,
You were living the dream.
we're feeling good right now. I don't even remember the last time I was on a stream. It was a long
Bef-
stinking time ago.
it was before you moved. That's for
Oh,
sure.
oh yeah, it's been over 2 months. JJ Munch, what's popping?
What's popping? I I let me pull something up here for you. I had something ready to go, and then I lost it, and
Oh,
now I feel like a stooge.
he was overly excited.
I
Uh,
was. Oh
while Ty's
man.
looking for it, I'll introduce us real quick.
Oh.
If you've been watching the streams the last couple of weeks, you know Tyler. He's been on with Lucas. You might not know me unless you're watching other content. My name is Cameron Lawrence. I recently moved from Florida to Minnesota, so that's why my absence has been so prolonged because I've been fixing up a house. But we're here. We're ready for our first live draft. LA Brooks, what's up, my guy? It's good to see you all. Good to be here. We're going to be doing a fast puppy over in Underdog Fantasy. If you guys really want to try to get in on it, I mean, we can wait like 2 minutes. Let you hop over to Underdog Fantasy if you never signed up before. Promo code fellas, and if you click start at the same time as us, you'll probably be in the draft with us. But if you stream snipe us, we'll never forgive you, and we will freak out for the rest of our lives. So,
We don't know how to exactly ban people here, but
we will
find a way.
Yes,
We'll find a way.
100%.
Also, JJ Munch, what's popping? Brand new whip. Just hopped in. It's not so much him saying hello. Well, it is him saying hello, but it's the TikTok sound. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yep. LA, hey, I just left St. Pete, so I love it. I love it down there. It was a great place. And real quick, while we wait for a couple more people to hop in before we start, Ty, Jeremy asked a question. In a 10-team, half PPR, 6-point passing touchdown league, what's a good strategy? I know Lucas just put out a short the other day. He talked about hero RB, talked about opportunistic RB, and what was the other one? Elite tight end. So are those three still applying to a 10 team there? What are you looking? How does your thought process change going from 10 to 12 team league?
Well, I'll first start with like the 6-point passing touchdowns because I feel like that's the biggest thing.
That's true.
Your Patrick Mahomes's, your Joe Burrows, your Dak Prescott's, like CJ Stroud's even of the world. Those guys have a little bit more value now because instead of 4, it's 6, right? So it kind of evens out the playing field a little bit with these quarterbacks, so you don't necessarily have to kind of sit there and be like, man, I really don't feel like taking Patrick Mahomes as like QB3 on the board right now. It makes sense with 6 points per touchdown. That being said, quarterback still, even with a level playing field, is not something that you still go out and reach on. You kind of go out of your way to go grab unless like it's a guy with elite rushing upside. The Josh Allens, the Jalen Hurtses, Kyler Murray's, like those kind of quarterbacks, you can safely target, you could say. But other than that, like I don't really know if there's anything that changes a whole lot. I think you still approach it the same way you would if it was like a standard, scoring league.
Yeah.
But you don't, and your margin of error is much wider now because you have 6 points for a passing touchdown.
Definitely. And I know Ty and I, we are coming around more to the idea of less running backs early and more wide receivers closer to that zero RB. But both of us still value at least one really solid running back to start a draft. Like I know you're the same way as me. Is I don't feel quite as good when I leave without a running back in those first 2, probably 3 rounds. I understand the team can still be great. Like, right, I'm not saying zero RB is bad. It's just like that feeling that you have looking back at your team. They're like, man, I just wish I had someone else. Best ball, what we're going to do here is a little bit different, right? I mean, we're more okay with going that zero RB, but in your home leagues, I think both of us really value at least one. And in the mock, we just did 2 early running backs.
Yeah. Hero RB is definitely like the strategy to go with this year. Last year seemed like a pretty one-off year for the zero RB bros. I don't think that happens again this year. I think you do kind of have to go out. You have to go into your drafts getting at least one of the upper end running backs. And if you can leave your draft with one of those guys and a solid wide receiver core, you're going to feel pretty good. But like you said, like in drafts that we've done, in mock drafts and in best ball drafts, when we've done zero RB, it just doesn't sit right, because you look at the running backs and you're like, gosh, I'm asking a lot of these. Like, yeah, like we're asking a lot of these guys that are going round 9 or later.
For sure. All right. Well, let's not keep the people waiting anymore, Ty. I think we got
I think now's the time.
Here. I think we jump right in again. If you're wanting to join in the future, I think we're going to try in the future, depending on, how things go, maybe opening this up to like a private draft for just the viewers. Something a little crazy like that could be in the future. But let's dive right in. This is, again, Underdog Fantasy, promo code fellas if you haven't signed up. This is the Fast Puppy. So it's only a $5 entry, chance to win up to $1 million in prizes. I mean, you might as well not even try in this contest, though, because this is the winner right here, right? We haven't even drafted yet, and we know.
The confidence is what kills us, though. That's the thing. We come in all confident, and then before we know it, we're gonna get stuck at the 110, the 110, the 110, 111.
So, and I know, Ty, you guys have had some terrible luck with your draft spots lately. So hopefully I can help break that curse. If I do, then maybe we just kick Lucas off. I mean, that's all I'm saying, is maybe we just get rid of him. Draft has filled up. Ooh, 7th pick of the draft, and most likely going to get Bijan Robinson or Breece Hall. Who should I get? Half-point PPR. Well, that sucks. We do go with 109, so maybe it is you, Ty, and not Lucas. Maybe
it is me. It is 1,000% me. Back to the question, though. Coin flip.
It is.
Quite honestly, coin flip. Like, I don't think either of them are going to be a detriment, or like they're not going to hurt your team in either way. I think I would lean Breece just because, like, he doesn't have a Tyler Algier in his backfield, so there is less of a chance for him to lose. I shouldn't say lose work, but like give up touches to somebody else. But that being said, like, I don't think Algier is going to play like a massive role in Atlanta's offense. So, like, again, coin flip.
Yep, I slightly lean Breece, but if you go the other way, I think it's the same thing. Following up, should I go someone else said? I think both of us really like either of those running backs in that spot. Obviously, if like a Tyreek Hill or CeeDee Lamb falls to you, then you scoop them up. But Bijan or Breece, I really like at the 107 there.
Yeah, I think any of the top 4 wide receivers, if they get to you, you go with them. But if you're looking at Amon-Ra, Breece, and Bijan, I think you go one of the running backs.
Yep. And so off the board real quick for us, Christian McCaffrey, CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson. Ty, if one of these running backs falls, right, we want to take him here, right? If we can get Breece or Bijan, is that how we're feeling?
I'm cool with Breece or AJ Brown. AJ Brown it is.
AJ Brown? I like that.
I love AJ Brown at the 109 this year because you know what you can get in the 4th round? Jalen Hurts.
Ooh.
Like, you're getting quarterback 1 overall upside and a top 10 wide receiver with top 5 week to week upside. Like, that is I literally made a TikTok on this video, or on this topic. Like, it is the best stack and it is the easiest to obtain this year. And I know like Lamar and Mark Andrews is pretty easy to obtain too, but I don't think Lamar Jackson, while he still has top 5 upside, I don't think he has like Jalen Hurts kind of upside though.
For sure. And, we talked about it in the last mock we did on our YouTube. Follow at Fantasy Football Fellas. If you're on the other YouTube, the Fantasy Football Fellas Shorts, make sure you move over to the long form content too, because that's where we're moving all of our content by the end of the month over to that second channel. But I talked about it, like that first 8 is a tier, and then we get to, this next tier, and I think AJ Brown's the first guy in that. Ooh, where do we want to go here, Ty? Do we go JT?
It's JT for me.
That's where I'm at. We talked about, hey, we like a running back, we like a wide receiver, like we like a running back early. Jonathan Taylor's about as solid as they come, right? He's a fantastic running back. Obviously, some question marks. How does it look with Anthony Richardson? Are you worried about that at all with JT?
You have to at least like acknowledge the fact that like there could be some very frustrating weeks for JT. But you also have to just kind of look at who's going in this range of the drafts, and these 5 wide receivers that go right after him. I don't think that there's a way where they can be as reliable as Jonathan Taylor can be.
For sure. So the other guy we could have gone there is Saquon to really, go all in on an Eagles stack. I see a lot of people doing that. I do it every once in a while. I don't know if I love all in on every single part of an offense, right? I like the stack. I understand the correlation, right? I mean, the whole team can pop off, but it feels like on a team like the Eagles, right? That running back quarterback stack isn't quite the same with the amount of touchdowns Jalen Hurts gets with the lack of, dump offs that he throws. So that stack doesn't quite mean as much to me, the Saquon Jalen Hurts one.
Now, thank goodness. I've been starting to see people reach on Jalen Hurts at the beginning of the third when they draft Devontae Smith. It blows my mind every single time because they're reaching by like 12 picks, and it's like, what are we doing here? Like, why?
So here's the question now: do we secure Jalen Hurts at the 309, or do we wait and try and get him later?
Oh, I think we can wait. I think
you think we wait, we play that game?
Yeah.
Or
worst case scenario, if we miss out, we can go Anthony Richardson then later.
For sure. And does it depend who's on the board here too, right? I mean, would there, if I'm looking at it, would you consider a tight end here, or who do you like? I guess who do you like on the board right now? Who do you want?
I don't want to. Never mind. I want a Kyren.
Yeah,
because I think late third round for Kyren would have been.
Oh my gosh,
sweet.
What do we think here?
I kind of want to. I know you had just said like we don't want to go all in on one offense.
Well, do we want Pittman and we pivot to a Colt stack?
Yeah, that's where I lean.
All right, I like it. So we're gonna pivot to a Colt stack. Is that what we're saying here, Ty? Is that what we're saying?
I don't know if we. I don't know. Well, I don't know if we necessarily. I was gonna say. I think we could do a Colts Giants Week 17 kind of correlation build, but still have a Hurts AJ Brown stack.
I like that. And I guess it makes sense looking at this Colts offense, right? It's not going to be crazy in volume for, Anthony Richardson. Him and Jonathan Taylor are more likely going to be closer to that Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, esque. So I guess you're right. It's not essential to have Anthony Richardson to be a part of that. And the upside is, I think that pretty similar between the two, but the floor with Jalen Hurts here is just so much greater than Anthony Richardson because we've seen it so many years in a row.
Bingo. Exactly. So I just want to say, like, it makes my heart happy to see a guy like Isaiah Pacheco going as a top 10 running back, but like we're getting to the point in drafts where people are thinking that they're getting ahead of the curve in terms of like, getting him before he goes even higher in drafts and stuff. It's happened with later round guys like Demarcus Robinson. I did 2 drafts earlier today. Demarcus Robinson went a full round and a half early in both. And it's like
crazy.
Okay, like I get it, but it's not worth going out of your way for. So it's kind of the same with Pacheco. He was at the end of the 4th round, early 5th round, not like 2 weeks ago, it feels like. And now all of a sudden he's going now middle, and his ADP is probably going to continue to push like early 4th. So that's just a warning to all of you that are wanting to get into best ball, get into underdog drafts. The biggest thing that you have to do is pay attention to the board, and not just like in your, obviously pay attention to it in your drafts, but pay attention to it just in general, right? Even when you're not drafting, just take a look and see in the rankings change, because it's updated daily based on where people are drafting that player at specific, positions and stuff. So again, you want to keep an eye on it for a guy like Isaiah Pacheco. For me earlier, it was Jaleel McLaughlin, right? He
Mhm.
was running back 54 at some point, beginning of the offseason, beginning of the summer, and I was scooping him up like crazy. Now all of a sudden he's like running back 46, right? So people are buying in on the hype, and so because he's now getting more expensive, you don't necessarily want to, you may not want to pay the same price that you did or that you would now versus what he was then. So again, this is a science in some ways of just like making sure that your bases are covered,
Ooh,
making sure that you're not falling for the traps of rising ADPs.
for sure. Who are we thinking here? Who do we like here? Do we want a Kincaid if he falls this next pick? Do you want Ridley, Mixon? No,
Oh
we don't want
man,
Mixon because we've already got week 14 buys probably.
I kind of like Godwin here.
Godwin, I'll do it. I'm in on Godwin. We've really rised up on Godwin. I think as the fellas, I think we're really buying into that training camp hype of how they're going to use him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like he's such a good wide receiver. He's one of those guys that I'm not going to say he's as good as Keenan Allen, but he's kind of in that tier of like he's just going to be consistently underappreciated for how good he is. And if he gets in an offense that's going to unlock him, we're not saying he's the next Cooper Kupp or anything, but we have seen him finish as a top 5 wide receiver before on the season. So using
Yeah,
him in the right way, we know he can be extremely effective for fantasy football.
yeah, and I mean, in the years where he's played the majority of his snaps from the slot, he has finished as a top 20 wide receiver in 3 of those 4
Yeah.
seasons.
Ooh, where do we want to go here?
Um, do we just go upside with a guy like? No, we go Rome. I'd say we go Rome.
Rome?
Yeah, because the beauty with Rome at this point, since we've got our 3 wide receivers, we're not exact. I mean, depending on who we take in, with our next 2 to 3 picks, we may not need Rome to contribute right away, and then
Yes,
we benefit from a second half breakout, which I think will happen in Chicago.
for sure. And it's, you got those 2 rookies coming together. Obviously, you have Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. But if we're honest, the guy who's going to lose out on snaps, the guy who's going to, time on the field is going to be Keenan Allen. Being the older
Mhm.
wide receiver coming out of the slot, if they're not running 3 wide receiver sets constantly, Rome's going to be on the field. That doesn't mean that he's going to out target, have more receptions, more yards and stuff than Keenan Allen, but he's going to have the opportunity to, right? And if he's as good as we think he is, because I know you were really high on Rome. I was pretty high on Rome coming out. If he's as good as we think he is, right, he's definitely going to flourish in this offense.
Yep, exactly. Um, going back, you want to show the board real quick.
For sure.
Just other guys. So, like, I think we have been big fans of like the falling top 5 tight end. Like Dalton Kincaid definitely would have been a worthy pick. Um, you're gonna laugh at me for this, but I'm kind of holding out hope that we can get a Jake Ferguson to fit with a
I
Dallas Philly build.
Ooh, I knew you were hoping for Ferguson. I know you're always hoping for Ferguson.
True. True.
I assumed that was what you were going for when you said no Kincaid. Oh, do you want the
Yeah,
boards?
no. Oh boy. Okay. Now we sweat. But with again, guys like Godwin and Rome, there's opportunity for them to really return value on where their ADP is at right now. And
Mhm.
oh dude, I think we did it. I think we did it.
We're gonna be very close. Lucas might be really sad that we didn't go Alvin Kamara here. Like I feel like that's just been a staple for Lucas in every single draft he's ever done. But how about Stroud? How about Stroud though? Really falling here. I mean, so Ferguson for us is the pick.
Yeah.
I love Kyler in this range too, but obviously with
Yeah.
the team we've built here,
Mhm.
it's not necessarily like a priority for us. But yeah, Stroud's now, falling outside the 7th round almost, falling into the 8th,
Yeah.
which I
He,
like. I am happy about that because I feel much better about taking him here than in the 5th round where he was going earlier.
yeah. I everyone likes to talk about a strategy that they utilize in best ball and stuff. And quite honestly, like I wish I had one. my strategy, honestly, is just value hunting,
Yeah.
right? Guys that are sliding down the board and just scooping up value and trying to correlate from there. And it's worked out pretty well so far for me. So, for
Which running back
somebody
do
that
we
needs
like
a
here?
quarter, I
I feel like we go running back, right? We get our second
yeah,
one
we got to
here.
go running back.
Who do you want?
Or do we go Sutton and we just punt for later running backs?
Oh,
I
you
say we
think
go
so?
Sutton. Yeah,
All right.
we go Sutton.
Ooh, am I gonna get it in time? We were close.
Yeah.
We almost got
So
out of pick
now,
there. Almost ended up
yeah,
with
so
Stroud.
almost. Oh boy. But now our 5 wide receivers,
That's
we've
true.
got. You want to scroll down? We've got
It is not letting me scroll down. It's being weird, but I can show you.
because your mouse doesn't like you.
Yeah, it is.
We got AJ Brown, Michael Pittman, Chris Godwin, Roma Junze, Cortland Sutton. So in some ways, like we kind of paired Rome and Sutton together in the sense that, like, for when Rome isn't producing right away at the beginning of the season, we got Cortland Sutton coming through. And then we know then second half of the season, Roma Junze's week-to-week ceiling is probably going to be a little bit higher than Cortland Sutton, so that it's kind of like a replacement in some ways. So again, we're punting our running back 2, running back 3 here, but at the same time, I am like, honestly, we just went with the Philly Dallas build. Why not go Zeke or Rico Dowdle in the later rounds, right? Like I'm not. It's like talking about a perfect game. You don't talk about a perfect game when it's happening. So I'm not going to say a whole lot, but like I'm happy. I'm happy.
Wow, look at Stroud. Still falling right now.
This is 30 picks, and Jaden Daniels just went in front of him. That's 30
he
picks.
just got into the 9th round. Stroud's still sitting there. If Stroud falls back to us, do we have to take him?
Yes.
Is that
we have to?
Even though you have no Texan, you're just I can't believe these teams who've got a Diggs, a Nico Collins, a Tank Dell aren't all over this right now. Joe Mixon, this is shocking how far he has fallen.
I mean, the next 2 teams that don't have a quarterback are kind of counting their lucky stars that they've got these 3 guys waiting in the wings.
You got to be happy.
Yeah.
So do you ever consider a Dak here? Saying, oh, I could go, really go on that? Or are you just like, no, what? We go Hurts. We don't touch Caleb Williams flying ahead. Wow. Jordan Love. Stroud is going to make it back.
We got to go Stroud.
And
I'm sorry.
It's just the value. I mean,
the
end of the 9th round. 36 pick, 3 full rounds after 80. Like, I understand, maybe it wasn't the best for our build, but our quarterback
value is value.
I mean, we're 25 points a game right now at the quarterback position.
Yeah,
I mean, that's kind of what it comes down to.
So you had asked about Dak, and my personal thing when it comes to builds and correlating for week 17, I say right here we reach for Zeke, by the way.
Ooh, okay. I'm fine with that.
I don't like to grab the starting quarterbacks for those teams in week 17. I don't know why. That is just my leaning.
Just who you are.
Give me the later round skill players like Brandon Cooks right there. Like, give me a Brandon Cooks later, Zeke, Rico Dowdle, guys that are going to go later that I know are still, I know Dak's going to be on the team. These guys are still going to be on the team, but it's like, I don't need to force another quarterback pick unless like it is I'm trying to think what. No, not Arizona. Cincinnati, no. 6, Stroud. Maybe in the unique situation that you've got Lamar and then you get a CJ Stroud that falls this far, then I maybe would. Again, that might just be a me thing. I don't necessarily go the starting quarterbacks in week 17 matchups.
For sure. Yeah, I just can't believe he felt. I'm just so flabbergasted. Like we talked about, we're out on Stroud. We are.
Mm-hmm.
But in the middle
of the 9th round,
the end of the 9th round is just crazy. So is that a sign of what's happening with Stroud in fantasy drafts? That people are just realizing, hey, It's just, as a pocket passer, he just doesn't have the same upside? Or
I
is
mean,
that
who started that narrative?
or is that just like this draft and like is he really going to be falling this far? Or is that just this draft that you think
Well,
that he, like
I mean, I know that the ADP counter keeps track of like outliers, right? So this
Mhm.
might be an outlier that doesn't drastically affect his ADP, but he's going to start to slide. And I mean, Richardson now goes ahead of him as a quarterback 5. I think we're going to see Kyler go in front of him by,
He should be.
start of the season. I think you're going to see the gap between CJ Stroud and the Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott, Jordan Love range of quarterbacks shrink
For sure.
by
Who
a lot.
who do we like here?
I think we got to go running back here.
Yep. I really like Charbonnet, and I
I
understand if you're out on him, but I really like his opportunity this season.
I'm cool Corum or Charbonnet because I think you can make the same argument for both, and that if the guy in front of him goes down, they immediately step into, a tremendous role.
Well, I have given you the opportunity for the past couple picks, so I'm going to make my pick here, and I
Yes,
am going
go
to go
ahead.
Zach Charbonnet. I'm going to go get my guy. I understand Corum as well, right? And there's been a lot of good reports coming out about Corum too, of not even strictly from like a fantasy perspective, but I
Um,
just
with Charbonnet that he is still going to be somewhat involved versus Corum, who I think when Kyron and Kenneth Walker are going to be healthy, you're going to see a little more Charbonnet than you would in Kyron.
Mhm.
But then again, if the lead man goes, gets hurt or something, the same argument exists for both of them.
Do you want your guy Polk here? Do we double up on Dallas running backs? Go Dowdle? I'm a big Marshawn Lloyd guy, but I know we just took
I say we go Nick Chubb,
Nick
dude.
Chubb. Shoot the upside.
I shoot the upside. Like
That video got you got you feeling some
dude,
sort of way.
this happens every single year that there's a video during the off season about a player that you thought you were not going to be in on, and then you see the video and you're like, shoot, man, what if he is? What if he is? So maybe this is like the only time that I sign off on a Nick Chubb pick. But like you gotta do it like once.
He's our RB4. It's just like, why not shoot the upside there? And that's I kind of feel the same way about taking Jerome Ford this late in drafts. He's if running back 4, running back 5, it's kind of if you can get him there, it's kind of like, okay, if he doesn't pan out, most of your running back 4s aren't going to pan out. But which running backs have the true upside of Nick Chubb this late in drafts?
Mm-hmm.
Where if Nick Chubb's healthy, I mean, it would be a crazy outlier season. Obviously, like we're not advocating, reach on Nick Chubb. We're acknowledging, hey, this would be an outlier. But if anybody's going to do it, it's Nick Chubb, right? Like,
Right.
And so we can look at the team real quick. We got Hurts. We took Stroud 3 rounds after ADP. We just couldn't pass it up anymore. We were not looking to take Stroud. That was not a target of ours, but he just had fallen so far. JT, Jonathan Taylor, was our second pick. We took Zeke, Charbonnet, Nick Chubb. I understand that's kind of a gross running back room, but it's because we went with a deeper wide receiver room, understanding A.J. Brown's got that upside. Pittman, Godwin, Odunze, Sutton, Pittman and Godwin, I'm hoping for more consistency out of those two, consistent points. Odunze, a later season break, or later season breakout, but yeah. I don't know. What do we do here now? Oh, and then we got Ferguson as our tight end.
Yeah. I think we should go. I'm not really a fan of the running backs at this point. Let's reach for Demarcus Robinson. Kidding. Somebody else took him probably.
Huh?
QJ, I think. Man, we'll just auto pick Mooney. That's fine. That's
Bummer.
Fine.
This fast puppy got to us there.
Yeah,
Mooney's not a bad pick.
It's a gross board. I mean,
Let's get ready for our next pick. Let's not miss out on this one. We will answer 49ers football. We will answer your question right after this pick. Who do we want now?
I can't believe the 49ers are actually asking us a question about football.
I know.
Look at us. Look how far we've come.
Look at us. Noah Fant here. Should we appease Lucas? No.
Well, I mean, you know what? You know what? Let's do it because we have a Roma Dunze. There's a little bit of a Chicago-Seattle correlation right there. I'm just saying.
We'll do it. And now we don't have touch tight end for the rest of the draft.
Yep. We're not touching quarterback either. Yeah. We just let the board come to us at this point.
All right. So who are you targeting in the second round of 12-man league? I guess, I mean, it obviously depends where you're at. Let's say you're close to the turn. You're at 10, 11, 12. Who's your favorite guy second round of a 12-man league?
Probably JT, to be honest, because again, like I'm just not a fan of the receivers that are going in that range. I know that he's
at 7.
At 7, so you're right smack dab middle.
Yep.
Honestly, Saquon, if he gets there, I don't mind Achane either there, but it depends on who you take at the 107. I think, like if you were to take a not so sure thing, and like I want to approach this carefully. Like I'm not gonna say that like Jamar Chase is not a sure thing, but like on the chance that Burrow doesn't come back healthy, right? Like if you're going to go Jamar Chase and he makes it to the 107, I know he's probably going to go earlier, but if he makes it to 107, I wouldn't go Achane. But if you're going to get like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, I would go Achane then.
Yeah. I think both of us are in the same boat. We like JT and Saquon and even Achane better in the second round than those wide receivers going right now. Because it feels like all the second round wide receivers are third round guys that have just gotten pushed up because we have so many guys, wide receivers who should be in the third round. That's just kind of how it feels. Quickly before we get back to that, let's not get auto picked here. Let's discuss who do we want. So we got 6 wide receivers, we got 4 running backs, 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends. I mean, we're good on quarterback. We're not touching quarterback. Yeah. Tight end we're probably good on. Do we just bulk up the wide receiver room a little more? I still like a Michael Wilson in this, in this range.
I like Malachi Corley here.
Malachi Corley?
He's a guy, yeah, just because again, like he's a yak threat with really no Rodgers, one else besides with Rodgers, without anyone in front of him besides Garrett Wilson. Like, yeah, they have Mike Williams, but like on the chance of Malachi Corley becomes that wide receiver 2 in that offense.
Yep.
It's a pretty lucrative role if you ask me.
It for sure is. We got
Big Fat Sigma is in the chat. Yes, we do. I remember you. Cam has no idea who you are.
I have not been on the stream enough over the past couple of weeks to know who anybody is. So I'm missing all these inside jokes that you guys have got cooking up.
Cam back to Big Fat Sigma. Big Fat Sigma. Cameron.
Nice to meet you.
Just got home from being in the Windy City in Chicago. Hey, how was it? Did you have fun? Was it? It's summertime. I was about to say, like, was it cold? It's like,
was it windy?
Yeah. Was it windy? Was it sunny? Touch some grass here, Ty. Come on now.
Are we looking running back? We're looking wide receiver here.
Tyrone Tracy.
Ooh.
To fit with the Colts of like JT and Michael Pittman.
All right. I haven't taken any.
That's
Tyrone
our last
Tracy.
running back then.
I've not really taken any Tyrone Tracy, so plead the case for Tyrone Tracy for me. Why should I be taking more of him?
Tyrone Tracy to me is just, I feel like he is a correlation piece. You're not expecting a lot from him, but you do know that on the chance that, let's say, Devin Singletary gets hurt, or that Devin Singletary actually just is not very good in this Giants offense, they start using Tyrone Tyrone Tracy. I doubt they're going to use Eric Gray as much as people would like to speculate and say that, like, oh, look at this. It would be Tyrone Tracy, in my opinion, that's next up. So you've got low odds of that becoming a reality. But if it does, it's a 16th round pick on a guy. Like, if he were to get that kind of role, he's going to be much. His value is going to, be nowhere near 16th round value, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. And it's, the board's obviously disgusting here. So we've got
Darius Slayton.
I've been taking a lot of Slayton because I think he could easily be the wide receiver 1 in New York. I mean, I know, right? He's coming off an injury, isn't he? So I'm going to obviously have that, but let's be honest. I mean, not the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2. Sorry. Do not. Malik Neighbors is there. Malik Neighbors is the wide receiver 1. But he has a good chance to be. He has a good chance to target. Is where I was going with that.
Correct.
And so I do like it. And I've been taking a lot of Slayton because, like you said, I mean, we're at the end of the 17th round right now, right? You're not exactly finding high upside guys anywhere. You're looking for a guy who could fit into your, onto your team and score points 3 weeks out of this entire season. Like, that's what we're hoping for. And then, like you said, we have that correlation of the week 17 with Michael Pittman, Jonathan Taylor, Colts, Giants stack, because they are playing in week 17 tight. Can you explain real quick what week 17 correlation is, just for the people who don't understand?
Week 17 correlation is just finding the matchups that have the opportunity to put up a ton of points in either, meaningful playoff games or games with playoff implications, stuff like that. Like, very popular in one of the bigger people will try to do a Houston-Baltimore build because a lot of people know that those will be good offenses throughout the year, and then potential shootout in week 17. So it's essentially kind of pushing your chips in on one matchup that if players that you have from those two teams hit, it's not exactly like
Who do we want
a
here?
2-for-1.
Shua Hyatt double up.
You
don't need that many. What should we call this one team?
No,
who do we like here?
This.
We'll go Jelani Woods.
Will Levis.
We'll go Jelani Woods. Okay. Add to that stack. Throw in another tight end.
Okay.
That correlation. But like you said, it's the 18th round, so it's kind of like it's disgusting no matter who you go. If if you don't have a guy there, guys I've taken in the 18th round, I've taken a little DJ Chark, just kind of like maybe he is what we're kind of hoping QJ is going to turn into. I'm not going to say he's going to be great. I'm not, but it's maybe he can get me a 60-yard touchdown 3 weeks this season, right? And I got 14 points from DJ Chark, and that's that's kind of what you're hoping for some of these guys. Tank Bigsby, maybe, hoping for, not hoping for an injury, but just in case of one.
I mean, we know that Jake Ferguson is our tight end, but if he were to miss time, goes on a bye, we're looking at Noah Fant and Jelani Woods. Both of those guys could go for 3 for 45 in a touchdown, right? And that's like sweet. That's all that we need.
Alrighty, so we got our full draft here. Tonight we do not have time for a second draft, but we're going to hang out for another 10, 15 minutes or so. Just answer any questions you guys got, talk through the draft a little bit more. Just, shoot the breeze a little bit with you guys for a little while. So before we go through it, we do got a question from your guy, Ty, Big Fat Sigma here. Out of all the rookie QBs, who are you eyeing up the most? Who are you the most likely to pick in a fantasy draft?
I think you and I have the same answer. So on the count of 3, we say the guy, okay? 3, 2, 1.
Jaden Daniels.
Yep. That one. Yeah, that one is. I like Caleb is going to be fine.
It's rushing upside. It's 100% what it is. And it's, if there's one thing that's going to translate more quickly than the other, it's being in that being an athlete, and it's getting out of the pocket and getting that right. The completions, accuracy, all that, throwing it deep is all going to take a little bit of time. Whereas scrambling, that's all instinct. That's something you're just carrying over. But let's run through our team real quick. We started AJ Brown. He I think is both of our favorite picks after those top 8 go. And then we go Jonathan Taylor. We were excited to get him there. We both do really like him. Then we go Pittman as our wide receiver 3, or as a wide receiver 2. Jalen Hurts to complete that stack. That was kind of our thought process all along, was we're going to go Hurts here. We're going to stack him. He's fallen far enough in drafts where, we can feel confident taking him in the 4th round. Godwin, Odunze to just round out that wide receiver room. We took Jake Ferguson, Cortland Sutton. This CJ Stroud pick we were not expecting to make, but he fell 3 full rounds, 36 spots past ADP. So it was kind of like, okay, we got it at that point. We took Zeke, Charbonnet, and Nick Chubb because we'd only had one running back at that point. It's gross. We get it. But you look at it, Zeke's got a path, a great path to carries, path to touchdowns. Zach Charbonnet, if Kenneth Walker doesn't get hurt, I still think he has standalone value. If Kenneth Walker does get hurt, he's got tremendous value. Nick Chubb, we bought into the video that, if you didn't see, he squatted 500 pounds like 8 months after a torn ACL. Just stupid. And so we took that hook, line, and sinker in this draft. We did get auto-picked on a Darnell Mooney. We didn't love anyone in that area anyways. QJ, Quentin Johnson might have been our other pick, so it wasn't like it was going to be pretty no matter what. We appeased our guy Lucas, taking Noah Fant as our second tight end. Ty wanted the rookie Malachi Corley, which I don't hate that pick. He talked me also into Tyrone Tracy. We then go Darius Slayton and Jelani Woods to really kind of solidify our week 17 correlation between Colts and Giants there. Ty, if you had to grade the draft in chat, why don't you guys drop a grade of what, for us in here? What do you think? A, B, C, D. What do you give this draft?
I give this like an 89.9. Like if you were to round it, it's an A-, but I think the running back room outside of JT is what kind of would take it down into that B+ tier. But I honestly think, like, with the way with value that we got in certain players, with the way that we correlated these players together, why can't it be an A- kind of draft?
For sure. No,
what would you give it?
I think I'm a little lower B+. I think that's where I'm going to land for Niners football. I agree. I think that's where I'm going to go, is B+ there.
Yeah. Back to Jaden Daniels. What about his passing upside? Thing is, you get more points for rushing. And yes, like Caleb Williams could throw for more yards than Jaden Daniels. But it's not that like Jaden Daniels is only going to have like 3,000 yards and 12 touchdowns. Like he's going to be closer to 3,500. He's going to have closer to 15, 16, 17 touchdowns. And with his rushing production, he makes up for the lack of his passing production.
Yeah, I want to bring us back to 2022. Daniel Jones finishes as a quarterback 9, has 3,200 passing yards and 15 passing touchdowns. He finished 1.5 points ahead of Justin Herbert that year, who had 4,700 passing yards, 1.5 points ahead of Jared Goff, 2 full points ahead of Tom Brady, who had 4,625. Right, so I just put out a tweet about Tua Tagovailoa. He was outscored this last season by Trevor Lawrence, by Russell Wilson. He was outscored by 2 points by Justin Herbert. He was outscored even by Matthew Stafford. And obviously Stafford's a little different, but the other three have somewhat of a rushing upside. And it's just enough that even though Tua led the league in passing yards, he was still the quarterback 17 in fantasy football. So rushing just does, impact the quarterback position so much.
I mean, you only get, depending on your league, most standard regular leagues only give you 0.04 of a point for every 10 yards that a quarterback passes.
Yeah.
You just do not get valuable points from passing yards.
Yeah.
It comes from passing touchdowns, comes from rushing yards and rushing touchdowns.
Yeah. And that's where that 6 point, if you're doing a 6 point passing touchdown league, that's where it does kind of separate a little bit, bring it back, bring back that importance to passing. But I mean, I don't know. That is why we're in on Jaden Daniels there. Got the 10th pick in a half-point PPR league. Who do you like? We just did a half-point PPR league here. The 10th pick was Puka Nacua. I mean, if you can get any of the guys in this league that went 1 through 9 there, we're extremely happy. But let's say 1 through 9's off the board. Who's your next favorite pick at the 10th spot?
Probably coin flip between Puka and Garrett Wilson. Like for me, with Garrett Wilson, he's just going to get so much receiving work that it kind of nullifies the half PPR effect, right? And again, he's got Aaron Rodgers, so he's got red zone upside this year that he lost last year with Zach Wilson. But for Puka, though, Puka is with him and Cooper Kupp. Puka is the downfield guy, so he doesn't need to be the PPR machine that he was last year. He can be a guy that's utilized downfield, a big play guy with touchdown upside in a Rams offense that we are quite bullish on for this season. So honestly, like it's a coin flip between those two. I would probably, I guess it depends on, what kind of build you want to go with. Are you going to kind of shoot for upside week to week? And if you do that, you probably go with Puka. But if you want something consistent week in, week out, you probably go Garrett Wilson.
Yeah, I think I'm Garrett Wilson there. I would be considering JT at the 110.5 PPR league. I'm going to be honest.
It's worth a thought.
I do think we usually see a bump in these running backs, efficiency when they have a rushing quarterback, right? Because anytime there's a rushing threat, the defense can't just key in on Taylor. Like they're not going to be able to crash on Taylor every time that Anthony Richardson's go to hand the ball off because he can take off at any time. And if Jonathan Taylor's already had multiple seasons above five yards per carry, he's had a season at 5.5. Like that efficiency could be outrageous this year. And if you're not as worried about the receiving upside, I really like him. I have him very high in my rankings. And just Marvin Harrison, Drake London, Chris Olave, Nico Collins, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. Like, I'm not convinced any of those wide receivers deserve to be in that range. But at the same time, right, there's not a lot of guys I put in front of them. It's just, it's that weird feeling of like in the second round, you feel like you should be getting more certainty, more of a value there. And you're just not this year, right? It kind of feels like it's just 2 third rounds. And you just kind of got to be okay with that.
Well, I would even say like it feels like the third and second round are like flip flopped.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the guys in the second or the guys that are going in the third round you love because you're like the third round is just excellent value. But you also know that if they go into the second round, you're like, do I really, really want to take like a DJ Moore in the second round? Probably not, right? I would say though, like it's Puka or Garrett Wilson. Though again, JT's worth a thought, but I think if you go Puka or Garrett Wilson at the 110, you can probably get Saquon in the second round then, and that feels better than if you were to take JT, leaving team 11 and 12 to take Garrett Wilson and Puka. Then you're then kind of looking at like Chris Olave, Drake London, and Marvin Harrison Jr. Then
that's true
in that second round pick, and it's like, ooh, no.
Yeah, I would go. I mean, if I got a Garrett Wilson and a Gibbs there, I would like that as well. I'm very happy with that. So I don't know. It's definitely that turns interesting, and it is we've learned that doing our mocks. It's very different doing a redraft mock draft than this best ball. Running backs are much earlier in redraft, which I think they should. I look at this board right here, and I'm just looking. I mean, ETN. I'm not overly high on him, but in the middle of the fourth, after finishes as a running back 3,
please,
it's like that's a value. Kyron Williams, middle of the third. Isaiah Pacheco, you're talking. I mean, he's creeping up boards. He's still in the middle of the fourth, right? It's not like you're spending a second round pick. Like James Cook in the back end of the fifth, Joe Mixon in the back end of the sixth. You know, I got Alvin Kamara and David Montgomery in the seventh with Aaron Jones, Raheem Mostert not till the end of the eighth. Like I think there's so much value in the running back position just because of where they're going at this point. And I think it's kind of like you said, it's just the pendulum has swung so far that everyone's like, oh, zero RB, get your wide receivers early. And in best ball, you do have to get your wide receivers early. Like you have to, because otherwise they're just not left. But at the same time, if you pick your spots right with running backs later on, there's just so much crazy value there.
I just want to explain to people when it comes to best ball, there are like gimmicks here and there that are different from like your regular half PPR like home leagues. But at the very just very basic level, it is the same. Mm-hmm. And yes, like the only major difference is that you've got 3 wide receivers in best ball versus 2 in your home leagues more than likely, and a flex in best ball as well. So you may be starting 4 wide receivers on a given week. So yeah, like you said, like you need your wide receivers because again, you've got a lot in your starting lineup that you need to fill. That being said, we have gone so far off the deep end about like getting your wide receivers that we are just letting these running backs slide. And it's like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to force the wide receiver picks here. Again, second round. If I'm in a spot, I'm going JT, I'm going Saquon, and just waiting for the third round then, if to kind of do or go whichever way I want to go. If I go running back in the first round, not really a fan of any of the receivers available to me in the third, fine. I'll go with an A channel, go with a Kyren, and I'll look receiver then in the fourth. So I think people are getting stuck in the trap of like, got to get my wide receivers, got to get them right away, got to get 3 really solid ones. And it's like, you don't necessarily like need to get 3 right off the rip. You can be patient a little bit. Just draft like guys that score well in fantasy, guys that are guaranteed to be in productive roles and be in roles in offenses where they're going to get touches. That's the thing. Get the guys that are going to get volume. Yes, you want week to week upside as well. Just get the guys that are going to be involved. Again, Kyren Williams, prime example. Guy was a running back 2 points per game last year, going in the third round. Because and scroll up real quick for me. Look at the wide receivers going at the end of the second round, beginning of the third round in front of him.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith, Malik Neighbors, Cooper Kupp, Tank Dell. Why are those guys going ahead of Kyren Williams? Like somebody explain that to me.
Yeah. No, I agree. And we were almost really excited. Like we were so close to having Kyren fall to us there. And I would have loved an AJ Brown, Jonathan Taylor, Kyren Williams start. We got about 3 more minutes before we're going to hop off for the night. So if you got any questions real quick, now is the time to throw them in. If you haven't heard, we're moving our podcast to our new YouTube channel. We're going to be moving our live streams to our new YouTube channel. Fantasy Football Fellows, if you've been following us for a while on YouTube, you're probably on the Fantasy Football Fellows Shorts page right now. We rebranded that page. We're just doing short form content there. Head over to that new one. On our latest mock draft video, just type in a comment for us. Let us know that you're there. Let us know that you've subscribed and you're entered to win our draft guide. Every single video for free. You're entered to win our draft guide, and Lucas bumped it up. We're doing it for the rest of the summer. We were just going to do it to the end of July, but Lucas was feeling generous. Every video that we post on that page for the rest of the summer, if you comment, you're entered to win our draft guide for free. And we're going to be doing 3 podcast episodes a week in August. Fantasy Football Fellas on YouTube is the channel that you should subscribe to. Make sure you're on that one. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you might be on the Fantasy Football Fellas Shorts channel. So if you're on Fantasy Football Fellas Shorts, head over to the Fantasy Football Fellas channel. Subscribe to both because you want both of our short form and our podcast. But our podcasts are long form video. is where we're doing the giveaway at right now.
If you can't find the new channel just on a YouTube search, just do youtube.com backslash at the Fantasy Football Fellas, and it'll take you right to our that new channel page.
Beautiful. Ty, you know all the tricks. I gotta say it was fun. It was fun hopping back on. I think.
Welcome back.
Well, I will be on vacation this next week, but after that, I think for the month of August, I think Ty, I think me and you, we're gonna target a Monday live. Is that what I'm hearing? Is me and you might have our own night. Drop Lucas off with he's gonna find his own guests, and me and you balling out each week, one night a week.
If we can draft teams like this every Monday and leave Lucas with his teams on Wednesdays, I'm just saying.
Maybe that's what we got to do each week. We'll compare our team versus who Lucas drafts, and we'll just let the people
that could
decide.
be the third podcast episode.
There you go.
Oh, look at that! See, look at that. That is live business thinking in the moment.
This is how we work. You guys are seeing it. 49ers football. All you got to do, go to that last video, comment. I would watch it. I think it was a great watch. I watched it today myself, and I was the one talking on it. And then you got to subscribe as well. But if you comment on that, you're in the drawing we'll be drawing on Tuesday, and we will announce it on that video of who won the draft guide. That's all you got to do, though, is just leave us a nice little comment. Don't trash us, because your name might not end up in the drawing. It might not if you're leaving a mean comment. But if you leave a good comment, you might be towards the top of it. 100 subscriber. That's
Boom.
Pretty good. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That's all it took. 100 subs. We love that. We love it.
That's like 7 subs a day.
Oh my gosh. And he's a math guy. Oh, why are you not following Tyler?
This is a total package. It's all fan.
What a guy. What a guy. All right. Well, I don't think there's any better note to go out on of hitting the 100th sub. So I think I want to thank you guys all for tuning in. Tyler, you got anything you want to say to the people before we hop off?
Check out our draft guide. If you don't win the contest, just check it out, fellasdraftguide.com. You get all 3 of us fellas, all of our statted out projections for over 250 players, but then you get the consensus ranking. So even if you don't want to see the numbers, I highly recommend seeing the numbers. But you get the consensus rankings to use for your drafts. You get consistency rankings, you get upside rankings, and you get a risk metric as well. Guys that are, high risk, low reward, guys you should stay away from. High risk, high reward. Are you going to take the gamble on those guys? High reward, low risk. Those are our favorite kind of players to find in drafts. We give that to you in that draft guide as well. So again, fellasdraftguide.com for that. Check out Underdog Fantasy. This is a $5 fast draft with 20-second clock. So if you're in a rush, you want to get a draft in, you can get it in quick. They also have slow drafts with 8-hour timers. So all you got to do is just a pick a day, essentially. Like that's all that it is. So you just need to think about one pick every day. That's another option, $5. Again, use the code fellas over on Underdog Fantasy. You get your first deposit match up to $250. I believe you get a pick'em special. I think you do. And then, if I'm not mistaken, you can also get the draft guide for free.
Yes,
sir. If you use the code fellas, you get the draft guide for free using the code fellas on Underdog Fantasy. So again, fellas, FELLAS over on Underdog Fantasy, the fellasdraftguide.com, the Fantasy Football Fellas new podcast channel on YouTube. Follow us on Twitter. You can follow Cameron at CamLawFFF over on Twitter. On X, you can follow me, Tyler_Plath. You can follow Lucas. I don't know why you would. Actually, you really actually should. Like Lucas. Lucas comes out with some fire tweets.
Lucas is a great fellow. We'll give it to him.
And he is at Lucas Wenzel. So follow us over there on X. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, at the handles that you see right down below. We release TikToks daily, helping you get ready for your drafts. And I think that's about it. Just join us next time for us to crush another draft.
Yep. I couldn't have said it better myself. I dropped all the responsibilities off to you, and you killed the tie. So I think we wrap up right there. 1 hour stream, almost on the dot. Can't ask for much more. Again, thank you guys for joining. We hope we got a podcast episode coming out tomorrow. Make sure you watch that. Stream will be back next week with, I think Lucas. Does Lucas got a surprise guest next week?
I think it's 2 weeks.
2 weeks. All right. So it's Lucas and Ty next week. And then it's me and Ty next week. And Lucas has a surprise guest that week after. We will make sure to post when we are going live so that you know. So that's why you got to follow us so that you know when we're live. But again, thank you for following along. Thank you for joining us. And we will see you later.
Tomorrow.
Deuces.
Tomorrow. Deuces.